You're listening to the Entrepreneur Ignited podcast, where we aim to simplify online business so you can make more money. Now, here's your host, Gehl.
Hi, Gehl here. I'm kind of excited about this episode because it's going to be just chocked full of stuff that you can use in your business. And in order to deliver on that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you behind the scenes of entrepreneurignited.com. We recently completed this website, and when I completed it, before it was fully live, I showed it to some members of my mastermind group, and they had a look at it. They're like, wow, how much did that website cost you to build? Because it looks like a pretty fancy big website. I said, well, it was less than $1,000 when I added it all up. And they were surprised. And, I realized, again, even in this day and age, people are spending way too much money building websites, hiring programmers, or they're using the wrong things on their website, creating bloated, slow websites that are harming them in numerous different ways. And so what I want to do is I want to take you behind the scenes. I want to show you the theme, the plugins, and the tools I use to create this website. And these are themes, tools, plugins that I've used for, in some cases, many, many years. And, not only are you benefiting from learning what we use, but you're also benefiting from learning what not to use. Because over the past decade, I've spent tens of thousands, probably hundreds of thousands of dollars on themes, plugins, testing software, tools to see what works and what doesn't. We're constantly testing new things. And after spending that much time and money testing, this is what we use every single day. Now, as I move forward, I'm going to be sharing a lot of different resources with you, different tools. And please note, if you're listening to this podcast, you don't need to write them all down. Rather, head on over to entrepreneurignited.com, find episode number 2 on the podcast page. Okay, click on podcast in the menu, find episode number 2. And in the show notes, I'll include links to find all of the tools and resources that I recommend here to save you from writer's cramp trying to note all of this stuff down. But what I want to do is explain the different tools and give you just a brief summary of why I like these. Now, the one thing I'm not going to do is I'm not going to get into of why this is better than that one or why I chose this theme over that theme. All right. Just know that I've done a ton of testing and we've tried so much. And these are the tools that I now use every day across all my businesses. Now, the website itself is built on WordPress. If you're not using WordPress, you probably should be. WordPress, obviously, is now the biggest website building platform in the world. Over 22% of all websites are built on WordPress. I think there's over 75 million websites using WordPress today. And one of the reasons that I love WordPress so much is because it now has the biggest community of developers of any platform. WordPress is open source. That means there's literally hundreds of thousands, if not millions now, of programmers around the world that are constantly building features, functionality, plugin, themes for this powerful platform. And so what that means to us as the non-techie entrepreneurs, it means we can go out there and we can build websites, and we don't actually have to invest in programmers to design and build this functionality. Rather, we can just piggyback on the technology that's already built for us. And in the case of WordPress, in many cases, that technology is free for us to use. And as I go through my list, some of the stuff I use isn't free, but even the stuff I pay for is really, really dirt cheap. And, it's funny, I talk to people and they're like, I spent $20,000 on that website. And it's almost like a rite of passage that they're proud of. And I think that's just ridiculous. And when I look at the website, I'm always doing the mental math in my head thinking, wow, if you spent 20 grand on that, I think, we could have done it for $1,000 leveraging, outsourcing, leveraging plugins, leveraging themes. So that said, let's dive into this and let's start sharing the different tools that we use behind the scenes to create this website. And remember, entrepreneurignited.com/podcast. Go to episode number 2 in the show notes. You'll find all the links to these tools for you, and pick and choose the ones you want to use. And, to that point too, if you already have a WordPress website up running that you're happy with, don't feel the need to run out there and change everything up. But going forward, maybe these will work for you. Maybe some of these are better than the ones you have. Maybe there's a few things in here you're not using. So even if you have a website, pay close attention here, because I think you'll pick a few things up along the way. And, one of the things I should mention as well is when I'm creating a WordPress website, my goal is to use the absolute minimum number of plugins and add-ons as humanly possible. Because every time you add a plugin to a WordPress website, it effectively adds more what I call bloat to it, potentially slowing it down. So I always try and keep it as minimal as possible. So let's start right at the top. Now, what is the theme that we used for Entrepreneur Ignited? Now, lots of people go out there and say, hey, I can't find a theme that I want. They end up hiring developers and coders to go out there and build a custom theme for them, which gets really, really expensive. And, in this day and age, I truly believe it's no longer necessary because of what has become what are called drag and drop theme builders. Okay, these are themes that you install on WordPress, and they don't necessarily come with a particular design, although most of them do, but rather what they allow you to do is drag and drop and create your own unique page designs without having to do any coding. Now, if we go back to the early days of WordPress themes, you would get a theme and it would typically have very specific page types, page layouts, and page formats. And you were kind of hamstrung using this box that they created for you. Okay, this was their format for, say, a post. And if you wanted to change that, you'd have to go out and hire a coder, a developer, a designer to change the CSS, or potentially even hack up some of the code on that theme to make it do what you want. But now what we're seeing is the next generation of themes, which are drag and drop themes, which allow you almost the ultimate flexibility. But like with any type of theme, there's good themes and there's bad drag and drop themes. And so like I said, I'm not going to get into theme comparisons, but what I am going to tell you is the theme I use to build all of my websites these days is called the Headway theme. And the Headway theme is my hands down absolute favorite drag and drop theme. Because although it comes with different styles and templates, you can start with a blank canvas and create literally any page style you want. So you don't have another Me Too website that looks like every other website out there. And second to that is you're never going to be limited by your theme's functionality. As your website grows, you have the ability to create any page style that you want. And the best part of Headway is you don't need to be a coder. All right. Is there a bit of a learning curve? Absolutely. You're starting with a blank canvas, but you don't need to be a programmer. If you go through their help videos, they'll walk you through how to start building websites using Headway. And again, like any good theme, if you reach out into the outsourcing universe, if you will, on sites like Upwork, you'll find lots of developers as well and web designers that specialize in this Headway theme that can help you if you ever do get stuck. So Headway theme is the primary theme that we used to build Entrepreneur Ignited. You can get a single site license of the Headway theme for $59. All right. If you have multiple sites, they do have developer licenses that a little bit more than that. You can use it on unlimited websites. And I've built countless websites with Headway now, and I absolutely love it. One of the other elements why I really like it is because I'm not a coder, but I've had very smart programmers look at the Headway theme and look at the code behind it. And the feedback has been that it's really, really well built. Many of the themes that you get into are very clunky, very bloated. Themes like X themes, themes like a lot of the drag and drop themes out there, Divi, they do really weird stuff. They create really weird code that's not super efficient. On the outside, from a non-coder standpoint, looking in, they look good, right? But they're not actually all that efficient. Headway is a well-built theme. All right, so I really love that. One of the things that Headway also offers is different, what they call blocks. All right, and blocks are additional extensions or features that you can buy that they've developed. All right, some of them are free, some of them are paid. The only one that I'm using is called the article block, and that allows us to create really cool article pages quite quickly. Do you need it? No, absolutely not. But that is one of the things that we used. Okay, so that's our theme. Now let's jump over to plugins. Okay, so Any WordPress website is going to have plugins that are providing a lot of the functionality. One of my challenges when I create a website, I challenge myself to create it with as few plugins as possible. And the reason why is I see this happen all the time is people think, wow, plugins are free. And they go in there and start adding plugin after plugin after plugin. And you look at the plugin list on their website and they'll have 30, 40 plugins. And that's creating bloat, okay? And that's slowing the website down. So I try and use minimal plugins. But here's the plugins that I use on just about every website I create, okay? So the very first plugin, which I've been using for years now, is my SEO plugin, and that's the Yoast SEO for WordPress plugin. I'm not going to talk a ton about that other than tell you it is the most popular SEO plugin in the WordPress directories, used on millions of websites, and making sure your website is optimized for search, your posts are optimized, your page are optimized. It is fantastic. Again, it's completely free. You'll find that in the WordPress directory. Now, the second plugin that I use is called Google Analytics, also by Yoast. And Yoast is spelled Y-O-A-S-T. And Google Analytics by Yoast is another plugin that allows you to easily add Google Analytics code to all of your different pages. It adds a little analytics dashboard to your WordPress dashboard. Quite handy. All right, so that's the second plugin. Third plugin that I use, kind of goes without saying, is Akismet for my spam filtering. And you can get Akismet for free if you're sort of a nonprofit or sort of hobby website. But if you're a commercial website, you should be paying them, and it's as little as I think $5. It's pretty darn cheap. And so Akismet, it's by far the best comment spam filtering plugin out there. Okay, so that's our third plugin. Our fourth plugin that I use is a plugin I've learned that I can't live without and has saved me a ton of grief and agony, and that is WordFence. Okay, Word, as in W-R-O-R-D, fence. And what WordFence is it's like security for your WordPress website. The fact of the matter is as WordPress has become more and more popular with millions and millions of websites out there using it, it's now become a much more of a target for hackers, right? And so what WordPress does is it really locks down, secures, and monitors your website. And before I used WordFence, I had a few bad days where I got up in the morning and found one of my websites had been hacked, and we had to restore it. It was a pain in the butt. What WordFence does is it locks down your website and really prevents a lot of that from happening. And also monitors for any weird changes, malicious software, stuff like that. And if you go into the plugin directory on WordPress, you can search WordFence, and you'll find a free version. But I would really recommend the premium version for that extra protection. And for $39 for 1 year of protection is a pretty good investment, and can save you a lot of time in the long run. All right, so next plugin we use, and I use on pretty much any and every website, is Gravity Forms. Okay, Gravity Forms. And Gravity Forms is, in my opinion, the hands down best form creation plugin out there. So if you need to have an opt-in form or a contact form or an order form or anything hosted on your website, Gravity Forms is by far my favorite plugin for that, for two reasons. A, it's super powerful. B, it's easy to use. You don't have to be technical to go in there and create a really good looking form that you can use throughout your website. So if you go to my contact page or any of my opt-in pages, you'll see that we're using Gravity Forms there. Now, a premium plugin like this is they're updating it all the time. There's always new stuff, security, locking it down. These guys do a fantastic job. So there's a fee for that one, and you're looking at about $39 a year to use the Gravity Forms plugin. Now, one of the things I love about Gravity Forms is it also integrates with just about every major email marketing and e-commerce system out there. So I use Infusionsoft for my email marketing and for my e-commerce system on the back end. And there's an extension, if you just search Infusionsoft Gravity Forms, that I can download for free, which now makes Gravity Forms immediately connect to my Infusionsoft account with no technical programming stuff required. And if you're using GetResponse or MailChimp or Aweber or any of those, they also have extensions for that also. So for setting up forms on your website, I couldn't recommend Gravity Forms highly enough. On to our next plugin. The next plugin that we're using is a plugin that, unless you had a podcast, you probably won't need, but it's a plugin that we've recently started using and I really like, and that is the Smart Podcast Player plugin, and that was developed by Pat Flynn from Smart Passive Income. And it's a fantastic player. It pulls your podcast down. People can play it live on your website. Fantastic plugin. You'll see most major podcasts who are embedding these on their website are using this player these days, and I think you can find that at smartpodcastplayer.com. And they have a free version, which is limited in functionality, or it's $12 a month, or you can save additional money. It's $97 a year. Okay, so $12 a month for a very awesome piece of software. Next plugin that I've used is called the WP Page Navi plugin. And this is a simple free plugin that allows you to use more advanced navigation to do cool stuff with your navigation above and beyond what you would do with the standard WordPress built-in navigation. And, if the standard WordPress navigation works for you, great, just use that. But if you need some more functionality, check out WP-Page Navi, and keep in mind, like I said before, you'll find all the links to these in the show notes. Now, the next plugin, which I absolutely love and use on all my websites now, is called WP Smush. WP Smush. And this was developed by WPMU Dev, which is a big plugin developer. And it's a free plugin. And basically what this does is, as you add images to your website, it makes sure that they're optimized. Okay, so WPMU Dev has a server that has image compression software on it. Okay, and what it does, the plugin does, is as you add images, it runs them through that server, compresses them using what's called lossless compression. So the image still looks good, but makes sure they're super optimized. Okay, so if you're out there grabbing images online and doing stuff in Photoshop and you don't necessarily know how to make sure they're super optimized, just use this plugin and always know if an image lands on your website, it's going to be compressed and taken care of. And the fact is page load times play a huge impact on bounce rates, on search engine rankings, on usability of our website. So I can't tell you how often I go to websites that are just completely unoptimized, using huge images that take forever to download. And although we may not notice it on super fast connections, it is having an impact. And so a plugin like WP Smush takes care of that. All right, so next plugin on the list that we used is what's called the Pop-Up Maker plugin. Right? You search Pop-Up Maker, you're going to find it. And this is my absolute favorite pop-up plugin these days. And the best part is the core plugin for making pop-ups is free. If you want to do different types of fancy pop-ups, exit, stuff like that, they do offer extensions. That's how they make money. They offer their core software plugin for free. And then if you want to do different fancy kind of plugins, they do have extensions that you could buy. We didn't need any of them though, so we're able to use the free funnel. All right. So you notice how most of the plugins we've been talking about so far are free. Now what I want to do is I want to take a step off of WordPress and share some of the third-party tools that we're also using. So if you go to Entrepreneur Ignited, you'll find it's a WordPress website built on the Headway theme using all these plugins that we just talked about. But as you click on some of our offers for some of our free ebooks or some of the opt-in offers throughout the website, you're going to find that they go to video pages, stuff like that. And if you look up the URL, you'll notice that they're on a subdomain, which is www3. Okay, so they're not actually hosted on the root site. And the reason why is for developing any type of lead capture funnel or even sales funnel, I don't actually build those on WordPress anymore. WordPress is fantastic for creating pages, articles, using the functionality to create blog pages, categories, stuff like that. But when I want to get into a specific lead capture or sales funnel, I like to use a massively powerful tool called ClickFunnels. And you find that at clickfunnels.com. And what ClickFunnels is it's a system that has been designed specifically to develop landing pages, lead capture pages, sales pages, all using a drag and drop format. Now, you may have heard of another what would be considered a competitor to ClickFunnels, and that's Lead Pages. Lead Pages was definitely around before ClickFunnels, and Lead Pages has a pretty darn big market share, and they offer a fantastic service. Again, you can subscribe to Lead Pages, and they have pre-built landing pages that you can customize for your offers, for your opt-ins, stuff like that. But the fact of the matter is in my books, and I said I wasn't going to get into comparisons, but I kind of am, I guess. ClickFunnels is by far the most powerful for quickly creating different types of funnels. Lead Pages is great if you want to have one simple opt-in page, okay? But if you want to create funnels where you're capturing leads, putting them through different processes, stuff like that, I truly do not know of a tool today that is faster and easier to implement than ClickFunnels. Now, ClickFunnels was developed by a very smart internet marketer, a gentleman by the name of Russell Brunson, and this software has absolutely blown up. And you'll see ClickFunnels, you won't see it being used, but it is being used across literally thousands of websites. And, the downside of ClickFunnels for somebody getting started, typically though, is the investment. There is a monthly fee associated with that. Now, I currently use the $97 a month plan, and some people think, "Wow, that's a lot." Well, if you're developing landing pages and lead pages on a consistent basis, the amount of time that's going to save you and potential money, actually, if you're going to hire somebody to do that, is huge. There's all these pre-done templates. You can point, click, create stuff, duplicate stuff. Very, very powerful. And probably in a future episode, I'll get more into sales funnels and stuff like that. But ClickFunnels is what I use. Now, there is a $37 a month plan to get started. Now, if you're not comfortable subscribing to something at that price point, there is a plugin that I do use and I do quite like for creating similar landing pages. It's not as fast. It's not as scalable. It doesn't have quite the same robustness as ClickFunnels, but it is very, very good as well. And that's a plugin that's called WP Profit Builder. Okay. And in theory, we could have used WP Profit Builder to build those funnels as well. And WP Profit Builder has a $47 fee to purchase a single site license to that. All right. So, we could have done it $37 a month or $47 one-time licensing fee for WP Profit Builder. Okay, so the next tool I want to share with you, which is a tool that I honestly, I don't know why more people aren't using it. I think it's just because they don't know it exists, and that is called Cloudflare. Now, Cloudflare is a service that you can sign up with. They have a free service, and then they have a really cheap service as well that offers some more features. But basically what these guys do, without getting into all the technical details, is they make your website faster. They make it more accessible to people around the world, and they make it faster. Okay, I'll leave it at that because we could talk about Cloudflare forever. And you can sign up for Cloudflare for free. And the last tool on the list is the email marketing system that we use in our e-commerce system. Now, I use Infusionsoft, and I've used Infusionsoft for many, many years. It's a very powerful, robust, complete CRM, email marketing, e-commerce system. But to put this into perspective, to build Entrepreneur Ignited, did I need Infusionsoft? Absolutely not. I could have set up that entire website with a GetResponse and Aweber account starting at $20. Okay, so when I factor in the all the costs here, I'm not going to use the Infusionsoft fee because, frankly, I didn't need Infusionsoft. I already had it. If I was starting from scratch for the email marketing, I would have just used Aweber or GetResponse. So let's break that down. Everything I've added up here, if we assumed you're using Aweber or GetResponse, in the first month, because there are some ongoing fees there, the total cost of all the plugins and all of our themes, software, everything was about $251. And like I said, that ongoing could be reduced as well. But $251 for all the themes, plugins, software to get this up and running. And then, depending on what you choose, there is could be some ongoing fees with that, obviously. But the ongoing fees, depending on what you chose there, would be well less than $100 a month, probably less than $50 a month, okay, for powerful marketing tools. All right, so that was the hard cost of buying licenses. But on top of that, and I said I did it for under $1,000. It wasn't just $251. There are more costs on top of that because I'm not a developer. I'm not a coder, and I'm not a designer. I need to hire people to do that for me. So the graphics, the entire layout was done using a graphic designer, and as a graphic designer by a gentleman named Alex, who I found in the Philippines. And I actually didn't find him on Upwork. In fact, what I did there is I posted an ad on Craigslist in the Philippines. And most people go to Upwork initially to find people. But what I found is, although Upwork is great to find people, and I found some very good people there, including the coder that I used, but what I found is Craigslist and advertising on different job boards in the Philippines in many cases can yield better results. And in a future podcast, I'm going to talk about how I've outsourced my entire organization, so I'm not going to get into that too deeply. But needless to say, the entire graphics done, mock-ups, everything, multiple versions, all the ads, everything like that was $250 completed. All right. Now, the other side of that was the coding. The coding here took about 20 hours of a coder who knew Headway really, really well. And he was in the Philippines. And he was definitely not the cheapest coder out there, but he was very, very good. So I was paying him $22 an hour. It took him about 20 hours to finish that website up. So that's a total of $440. Okay, so let's break this down. A total cost for all of our fixed costs, plugins, stuff like that, $251. Graphics, $250. And then our coding is $440. That's a total of $951 to build this website. And in future episodes, I'm going to go into the outsourcing, how I hire people, how I work with people, how to get the right results so that you can replicate this. But today I wanted to give you the tools. Now you might think, well, what about all the videos? What about stuff like that? What about recording podcasts? Guys, it doesn't have to be expensive. And again, in future episodes, I'm going to show you tools, show you how to do this at home, do it cheap without having to spend a fortune. Now, is Entrepreneur Ignited perfect yet? No. There's always things I want to improve. And, if I can leave you with one thing, if you're just getting started, just get your website up. It'll never be perfect. And like most entrepreneurs, you'll always see ways you can improve it, but get it live, then start improving it. So there you go. You have a whole list of the tools that I've used. I've let you look under the covers. This is what I use. These are the tools. That's how much it costs. Anybody can do this, guys. It just requires you to take action, get started. And as I said before, if you want to get the links to all of those, head on over to entrepreneurignited.com/podcast. Find episode number 2. You will find all those links in the show notes. Hope you took something away today. Now go take action and start creating your success on the internet. Bye for now, everyone.
You're listening to the Entrepreneur Ignited podcast, where we aim to simplify online business so you can make more money. Now, here's your host, Gehl.